You ever feel like you're just trapped in your own head? Well, the philosopher Bertrand Russell thought that's exactly why so many of us are unhappy. And his way out? It's something he called genuine affection. And we're not just talking about a fleeting feeling here. We're talking about the actual foundation for a stable, lasting happiness that's built on real, solid connection.
I mean, think about it for a second. It's a question we've all wrestled with, right? Why do some friendships and partnerships just fill you up, make you feel totally safe and seen, while others just leave you feeling completely drained and kind of insecure? Well, the answer really comes down to the kind of affection we're giving and getting.
So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with the promise of affection. Then we'll get into what a genuine connection actually looks like. After that, we'll talk about the things that push love away, and, most importantly, how to build it back in your own world.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning, with the foundation. For Russell, real affection isn't just about getting those warm, fuzzy feelings. Nope. It's about building this deep sense of psychological security that literally changes how you show up and face the world.
Russell had this really powerful way of explaining it. He said that trying to face life without affection is like trying to walk across a super narrow plank over a giant canyon. You're so timid and focused on not falling that you're actually more likely to fall. But when you feel securely loved, it gives you the confidence to just walk right across that same plank, steady as anything. It makes you so much more resilient.
So if security is the big prize, what actually creates it? This is where Russell got really specific. The kind of affection that leads to real happiness? Well, it goes way beyond just surface-level feelings.
And this right here is the absolute key. He called it reciprocal affection. See, it's not a transaction, it's not a chore or a duty. It's this energizing two-way street where both people feel seen and valued. It's not one person constantly draining the other's energy. Instead, the connection itself actually creates more joy and more interest in the world for both people.
What this kind of affection really does is it helps us break down what Russell called the hard shell of the ego. Basically, it gets us out of our own heads. It shifts our focus away from just our own needs and our own fears and onto a shared experience. That simple little move from me to we is what opens the door to a truly deep and fulfilling connection.
Of course, all this sounds great, but building it isn't always so easy, is it? There are these really common patterns and behaviors that can actively sabotage affection and trust. Russell pointed out a bunch of them, and we've grouped them into 4 key breakers that really do push love away.
So here's a quick look at the 2 paths. On one side, you've got the breakers. Using people, trying to control them, anxiously demanding affection, and just staying walled off. But on the other side, you've got the builders that fight back against them. Genuine appreciation, a collaborative spirit, having fun, and just being present. Let's dig into the breakers first so we know what to watch out for.
Okay, the first breaker is treating people like they're just a means to an end. This is when you build connections based on what someone can do for you, for your career, for your social life, instead of just genuinely enjoying who they are as a person. It basically turns a human being into a tool, and that is the exact opposite of real affection.
Russell talks about this type of relationship where one person basically just sucks the life out of the other. It's this possessive, totally one-sided thing. The person who's always giving becomes, as he put it, pale and dim and dull, while the person taking just uses them up for their own ambitions, with zero real interest in their well-being. It's a total energy drain.
Now this one is subtle, but man is it powerful. It's when someone feels unloved, so they try to kind of buy affection with these desperate acts of kindness or these huge grand gestures. But here's the thing Russell pointed out. It almost always backfires. Why? Because people can sense that anxious neediness behind it all, and it turns out we tend to give affection most freely to people who seem to demand it the least.
And finally, the 4th breaker is basically a suit of emotional armor. It's when we're just too afraid of getting hurt to ever really give ourselves away. We end up protecting our fundamental loneliness, staying guarded and separate even when we're in a relationship. And that fear, it prevents the exact kind of vulnerability that real, reciprocal affection needs to survive.
Okay, so that's the stuff that tears connection down. But here's the really good news. Affection is a skill. It's a habit. It's a muscle you can actually build. So now, let's flip it and look at the 4 builders. These are the positive behaviors that directly fight back against those breakers we just talked about.
The first builder is so simple: sincere appreciation. Instead of looking at people for what they can do for you, you make a habit of seeing them for who they are.
Just expressing genuine appreciation is one of the fastest, most direct ways to build a connection and make someone feel truly, deeply seen.
So what's the antidote to that possessive control? It's collaboration. This means you start seeing disagreements not as these battles you have to win, but as shared problems that you can solve together. The goal isn't to never have conflict, it's to work through it as a team, in a way that actually makes your bond even stronger. This builder is all about countering that heavy, anxious demand for affection. Think about it. The love that lasts, what researchers call companionate love, is often lighter. It's playful. It's being able to just be goofy and have fun and enjoy each other's company, just like you do with your best friends.
And to finally break through that wall of loneliness, we have to make a conscious choice. Instead of just defaulting to scrolling on our phones or zoning out, we can choose to actually engage with the people right in front of us. It's about being mindfully present and making yourself available for a real interaction.
All right, so we've got the theory down. But how does all this stuff actually translate into our day-to-day lives? Let's take a look at how to make these ideas a real, practical working habit.
These ideas really do apply everywhere. At work, for example, studies actually show that having just one good friend there makes you way more engaged and effective. With friendships, it's about building them on just enjoying each other, not on what you can get out of it. And in romance, the real goal is that deep, companionate love that's built on a solid foundation of trust and mutual affection.
Okay, so here's something I want you to try, maybe even today. It's a simple little reset. First, just think of one relationship in your life that you really, truly value. Second, think of one simple, genuine thing you appreciate about that person, and then find a way to tell them. And third, anytime you're in a tough spot, you can just ask yourself this one question. What is the loving thing to do right now? It's an incredibly powerful guide.
This quote, it just nails the whole thing, doesn't it? Russell really saw being totally self-absorbed as a kind of prison that keeps us unhappy. And learning to develop genuine affection for other people isn't just about feeling good. It's about breaking out of that prison so you can experience the world and other people way more fully.
So, let's do a quick recap. Affection creates that deep psychological security we all need. The best kind of love is a two-way street. It's reciprocal and it's energizing. We can actively replace those destructive breakers with constructive builders. And maybe most importantly, affection isn't something you have or you don't. It's a skill you can practice every single day.
So you might be asking, what's the fuel for all this? Where do we get the energy? Well, it's what Russell called zest, this incredible, energetic enthusiasm for life. And we're going to break that down in our very next explainer. Make sure you check out the full playlist on the Conquest of Happiness to see how all these pieces click together. Thanks for tuning in.